Hello guys, Rob here. Earlier this month, information was released on a new feature that some of the Telos core development team had been working on for over half a year. Sentiment tokens. These new tokens allow people to express their opinions about other accounts, dApps, and users in a persistent way that further benefits from the aggregate opinions of others in a form of shared sentiment that can function a bit like a prediction market about various aspects of others' social identity. A sentiment token could be thought of as a blockchain-like feature. Sentiment tokens can power likes and dislikes, trust ratings similar to a blockchain-powered, blockchain-wide eBay seller's rating, vouching for or warning others about an account, a dApp, block producers, or even proxies. The core of this is that sentiment tokens are issued from one account to another, and the account holding the tokens does not have the power to change or get rid of those applied to their accounts. So if I send a like or a dislike to a certain account, that account I send them to does not have control over those. They cannot remove a dislike or somehow cash in on a like. Me as the sender maintains control of those tokens. So a great example for a use case of these tokens goes back to the beginning of Telos when it started trading. Right after the Telos mainnet launch, an early user created the account name Chainrift EOS, which was the account name used by the exchange Chainrift on EOS for accepting deposits. Chainrift was the first exchange to ever trade TLOS tokens upon the activation of the Telos mainnet. It used a different account name on Telos than on EOS, but some users did not realize this and sent their tokens to this account instead. To this day, those tokens have not been returned. So we see this a lot. You even see this on NewDex, where the receiving account for NewDex on EOS is different from the receiving account for NewDex on Telos. So this example here, Chainrift EOS, is the account you would send EOS to deposit them into your Chainrift account. But Chainrift EOS is not the deposit address on Telos. So someone else registered Chainrift EOS on Telos, and some unfortunate accounts sent their Telos to this account on Telos, and it was not Chainrift receiving those tokens. It was whoever created that account just scooping up all those unfortunate users' tokens who accidentally did not read correctly the Telos deposit address for Chainrift. So with sentiment tokens, you could dislike or distrust, send dislike or distrust tokens to the Chainrift EOS account that is on Telos. And let's say when you go to send those tokens using Scatter, Scatter could have a pop-up saying, "Are you sure this is the account you want to send to? This account has X number of dislikes. Do a little bit of more research before sending these tokens or interacting with this account." Much like what Scatter did with the update auth, the feature that changes your key to your EOS or Telos or any other EOS.io account in Scatter. You can either blacklist that feature now, or if you do go to execute a update auth transaction, a big old red pop-up occurs saying, "Are you sure?" Like, warning, are you sure you want to change your keys? If not, X out of this right now. The same idea can be applied to these sentiment tokens. An account with a lot of distrust or a lot of downvotes, a lot of dislikes, a pop-up can appear in Scatter saying, "Make sure this is what you really want to do. A lot of people do not trust this account." And it goes beyond just account interactions. If we look at some other examples of possible uses, voting. So users can send like and dislike tokens to various BPs. And I think that would be a great feature to have on any voting portal. Have their aggregate rating of likes and dislikes next to their block producer name. So you can have a better understanding of how the community is feeling towards a particular BP based on their sentiment through the sentiment token. And this can also be applied to proxies. You don't want to vote for 30 BPs yourself, you want to vote through a proxy. Have the same feature for proxies. Next to the name of the proxy, have their ratings based on their sentiment token value. How many likes has that proxy received? How many dislikes has that proxy received? And going beyond that, the same can be applied towards dApps. That goes back to the account level, much like with the Chainrift EOS example. But let's just say there was a dApp out there that scammed people. You know, they would get a lot of dislike tokens, and then if you were interacting with that dApp, when you go to, let's say it's a dice game, you go to roll the dice, well, what you're doing is sending your bet to that dApp's account. If that dApp has a lot of distrust, that dApp's account will have a lot of distrust. A pop-up on Scatter will pop up saying, a lot of people do not trust this account. Are you sure you want to interact with it? And these tokens can be applied further to, let's say, escrow services, you know, to know that the escrow service you were using is legit, and even for peer-to-peer exchanges, much like with eBay seller ratings. So some guy has an NFT, a non-fungible token that you want, and he wants 10 TLOS. You'll be a lot more confident that he will send you that NFT after sending him that 10 TLOS if he has a rating on his account similar to what we see with eBay seller ratings. It won't completely eliminate the scams, but just like with eBay, you know, if someone has a good seller rating, more than likely you're going to get what you pay for. There's still cases where eBay sellers with good ratings don't give you what you think you're buying. But at least in this case, if that were to happen, you have the power to downvote and leave a permanent stain on their account. So that's the basics of the sentiment token. This is just going to bring an extra level, an extra layer of security and trust to Telos and any other blockchains that adopt sentiment tokens. And I'll leave a link below to this article from Goodblock. Lots of reading in here, but you can also scroll to the bottom here, and this is that second page. We are looking at this page here, and they do have some other readings on sentiment tokens as well here. So good read, a great new feature for Telos. The short of it is, you know, a new token that acts as a blockchain-wide like and dislike for accounts, dApps, EPs, proxies. So I just want to give kudos to the Telos core development team for these sentiment tokens. This is a great feature to come to Telos. Shout out to Goodblock, and I think there was one other block producer mentioned in here. Telos Voyager has joined Goodblock in building a working implementation of sentiment tokens, and this will soon be available. So shout out to Telos Voyager as well. The Telos core development team continuing to develop and bring great features like this to Telos. If you're new to Telos, I'll leave a link in the description below to this page where you can learn how to get your free account here, as well as how to Rex your TLOS tokens in Squirrel Wallet as well as Scatter. Right now, thanks to the Telos Economic Development Plan, Telos is running at 0% inflation and supplying an extra 1 million TLOS tokens per month to Rex stakers, making for some juicy Rex staking returns. So again, link to this in the description if you're not on Telos yet or want to learn how to Rex those TLOS tokens. But that's going to do it for me for this one, guys. I will see you in the next one.